Now we are being joined by Professor Idris Badiru. An end-to-end food supply chain describes all the production stages through which food items pass before reaching the final consumer. In Nigerian case, there are latent factors that contribute to hindering effective food growth and supply chain. But here we are, Prof. Idris is joining us so that we can have an understanding of what food supply chain entails, what role can the government, the private sector play, and what role can professors or professionals like Professor Badiru also play in this regard. So let's have Professor Badiru join us. Prof, a good day to have you on the show, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. It's nice to be on your program again.
All right, sir. So, Prof, straight to the point. I know you must have heard my intro, but for you, what is your assessment of Nigerian food supply chain system?
Well, so far so good. It has been serving us. It may not be perfect, but at least they always say that the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. There's still a lot to be done in terms of what we currently parade as our supply chain, particularly in the agricultural sector. The challenges are enormous, but they are not insurmountable. So as it is currently, we will say that we are not yet there. We are not yet there.
Interesting. But Prof, there is something that I come across when I was trying to do some little research around this topic. I discovered that food supply chain problem is not peculiar to Nigeria alone, but it's a global problem. Even the World Food Programs, the United Nations, all of them are still having issues. But from your own understanding, why is it that food supply chain challenge is a global phenomenon, even though much of billions of dollars have been put in this sector?
Well, thank you so much. It's a global problem like poverty. It's a global problem like unemployment and some other global challenges like that. And they will persist as long as the polity itself is not good enough, until we have a situation where the governments that we have in place are actually serving the people rightly, providing what is needed for the people, the enabling environment that they ought to provide. So this enabling environment is still missing in many countries of the world. So and it's missing in Nigeria, and that is why we are still facing these challenges. So if you want me to start talking about them, you see, a country where you do not have a good road infrastructure, there's no way the supply chain will be okay. A country where you have still have battling with your network, internet connectivity, there will be a problem. A country where you have insecurity, there will be problem with the supply chain. Ordinary to preserve some of these perishables, assuming that they cannot even reach where they are going within the time that they should get there before they get spoiled. You can't even preserve them. So these are some of the challenges, and a lot of countries, at times when we look at some of these issues in the whole world, but these challenges are there in Asia, they are there in Latin America, so many countries in Africa. We are still battling with some of these basic amenities that, what do you call it, human beings, proper human beings who are living. I'm not talking about those who are barely surviving, people who are living, what they should have, what they should take for granted. We are still not having some of these things. So we will continue to have some of these challenges all over.
Interesting. Prof, when we chatted some few days back or some few weeks back, you told me you are on the field, and on the field that you are as a agricultural extension service operator, you had some experience there. Can you share some of those experiences, because they are related to food production, food supply. Can you share some of your experience on the field with us right now?
Yeah, when we spoke, I was out of the country. I was in Ghana then. We went to see some of our farmers in a project in which I also consult for. So I was there for like 10 days or thereabout. So we were actually carrying out our greenfield days. Greenfield days, what it implies is we demonstrate a particular technology. In this case, what we were demonstrating was yam, new variety of yam. We were trying to showcase new technologies of cultivating yam, that is using leaf bud cuttings instead of you cutting the head of the yam and dipping it in the soil to propagate. We are not doing it like that. We are cutting the vines, as in a leaf of the yam and a small node there, a single node, what you are going to plant for it to give you small seeds. We call them mini tubers. They call them. There is some of the farmers call them chin yam. So we use that so that you can plant that chin yam at the end of the day to give you a bigger sized yam. So instead of carrying big loads of yam, if you want to, for a farmer that want to plant, instead of carrying big sacks to your farm to plant, what you only need are just small sacks that contain small pieces of what we call the mini tuber that you can plant. And that is essentially what we're doing. And we're doing it in Ghana, we're doing it in Nigeria as well. So it's, but for now, we still expect to have more people who go into that CDM production, so that at the end of the day, a lot of people who are into real yam, I mean the real yam that we eat, will have somewhere where they can get the seed from, just like they buy their maize seeds. Something that could be as small as a bean, just a bean, or slightly bigger than a maize seed, so that they can have things like that to plant. So that is what we're currently doing at the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture. So that's what we did essentially. But when you get to the field too, it's the same story. What we have in Nigeria is what we have in Ghana, is what we have in many African countries. In fact, during the field days, it was raining and we were going to some of the farm sites to see the plots. Eventually, the tricycle that was actually, because we could not reach those farms with our vehicles, so we had to use some tricycles to get there. And eventually, because the road was bad, it fell down. We had a minor accident. In fact, everybody fell on top of me, and they were so scared that probably I would have been wounded. But these are some of the experiences we've been having right from when we were in Nigeria. So it was not new to me. I only tried to protect my limbs so that I would not suffer any broken arm or broken legs in the process. So I knew, when I realized I would fall down, that was what I was just protecting. Every other thing was secondary. So it's the same in so many of these countries in Africa. It depends on where you've been to. Some may just tell you that, but the roads are better here. Yes, but when you look at it in the long run, it's like somebody is scoring 4/10, where the other one is scoring 2/10. They have failed. They have all failed. None of them has really passed. So that is just it. So when you look at it, the supply chain problem is still there in many of these countries where we've been intervening.
Interesting. And from what you have said so far, it also draw my attention to what someone said recently, that because of lack of good agricultural policy practice, that's why we are having some of these problems in the supply chain that you are illustrated. But in the case of Nigeria, if you look back into what the government is doing, even though you have made mention that the government is trying, but they are not putting effort in what they are doing. But what would be your own way of chastising the government in a way that they can look at proper agricultural policy? We know they are buying tractors. We know they are giving fertilizer. We know that giving chemicals, but is this fall in a forum that enough has not been done? And from the field experience that you had, even in Ghana, and the one that you must have had in Nigeria, it still look like nothing has been done so far. But let's have your take on this, sir.
Yeah. The truth about some of the policies, in fact, in Nigeria, a major problem is this back and forth. They call it policy somersault. When the Buhari administration came on board, they were more of protectionist in the way they put the policy. They were protecting the farmers, and a lot of people were complaining that despite the fact that they were protecting the farmers, people were expecting the prices of products to come down drastically and with immediacy. And it doesn't usually work that way. Now, so when the price and the hues were much, the Tinubu administration came on board, felt that okay, people want to eat, they want something that is cheap. Let us open the borders for them. Let us encourage importation of some good. They said is in the short time. Is on the short term basis. But the truth is that whenever you want to carry out any of these policies, it is better you sustain it over a period of time. If the policy is sustained at the end of the day, it will be easy. You realize that with time you start seeing the results. The gains of those policies will be realized by the government and by the people. But in our own case, we are not usually patient enough. The moment people cry, the government that feels that they want to win election, the next thing is try and relax those things, try and make sure that the people continue to enjoy, even if it means that they are eating their future. Because the truth is that this kind of policy, where you try to, some people came into farming, into agriculture because the policy was protecting them. Now that you are removing those policies that were protecting them, it's more or less like you are opening them to some risks. And at the end of the day, all of them will encounter a lot of failures. And when they fail, it will not encourage other people to go into production. And with time, you discover that what we are complaining about, we'll still get back to it. So it's more or less like we keep what do you call it? It's like is it movement, motion without movement, or movement without motion? I don't know the right phrase to use for it. But it's like after putting in so much effort, you still discover that you are achieving nothing at the end of the day. You are back to where you started from. So when we come up with a policy that is well thought out, that takes into consideration our local situations, is evidence-based, and at the end of the day, if we are able to do this, we must be ready to endure, no matter how much. Now, look at the issue of this subsidy removal. We all shouted, we are not happy. Personally, I'm not happy about the whole situation too. But the thing is that, okay, as a fallout of this subsidy now, we are seeing certain things gradually, though we are still feeling the pain. If the subsidy is returned immediately now because we are crying, we would have just suffered for nothing. So that's just the idea. So when you come up with a policy, it may have its pains. You may find a way of providing palliatives to reduce those pains, but you mustn't just stop the policy abruptly. Coming up with another thing that probably is not even well thought out, just because people are crying, people are complaining. So that is the way I see it. But a lot of people may not agree with me. But as scientists, we hypothesize, and when we hypothesize, we always give that room for being wrong. That is why we always have alternate hypothesis. When we have a null and our alternate hypothesis, that we could be wrong. So if the hypothesis is wrong with the other one that we feel is is validated by the results that we got from the field.
Exactly, interesting. But let's also take a look at the issue of climate change impact on food supply chain in Nigeria. Although on the part of the government, a lot of awareness has been created, a lot of policy engineering has been created, but from your own understanding, the climate change effect, how dangerous it is to our food supply chain in Nigeria?
Let me just take one example of how climate change could affect the supply chain. You know, the issue of temperature. There are some pests and diseases that thrive better in under certain weather.
We apologize for that network breach there. Although Prof will join us so that we can have a better
weather conditions are
okay, back.
It could be it creates a problem for the farmers. So now imagine you take a particular product, you are carrying it from maybe Benue, you are transporting it to Lagos, and the heat wave is so much that it hastens the rotting of that particular product. At the end of the day, something that probably should last like 5 days is getting, and you know that your journey should not should not take you more than 3 days. But because as you are going along, the roads are not good, there are security, we have security issues, that's the problem. But we now have people who are supposed to provide security, also creating another bottleneck by trying to extort, having so many road checks here and there. So at the end of the day, what should reach Lagos in 5 days, I mean within 3 days, gets to Lagos in 5 days. But you knew you were sure when you were packing that at least this thing can still last for 5 days within my truck before it gets to Lagos and will not get spoiled. But because the climate has changed, rottenness or the depreciation of that particular product has been enhanced, has been accelerated. So there's going to be a challenge in this kind of situation. So these are some of the ways in which it could affect the supply chain. Then the issue of all these heavy downpours that we are facing, floods here and there. When they happen, they wash away the roads. They make it uncomfortable for most of our marketplaces where they bring all these farm produce. When you look at most of them, they are usually the kind of bare floors and what have you. Some of them are not so protected from rains, from the sun and what have you. So when there are heavy downpours and they persist like that, even buying and selling cannot take place as they usually do. So some of these are a few instances in which we could have challenges relating to climate change, and it could have the impact on the supply chain.
Exactly. But Prof, before as we begin to round up, the issue of agricultural extension professionals like you, we also need to, most of our viewers will also need to know your role in this supply chain of food in Nigeria. Can you help us to understand that in that regard?
Yeah, we know as the roles of extension. If I want to start talking about extension from now, we can use because that's why we spent like 5 years to study extension.
Exactly.
So talk about extension, it's a broad thing, but let us just take a simple look at some of the things that extension does. Extension provides education, enlightenment, create awareness. So these are some of the things that we can do. We can provide training, capacity building for the actors that are involved along this value chain, this supply chain that we're talking about. We can provide capacity building for them. We can enlighten them more on how they can adapt to the challenges of climate change and whatever, because like they used to say in Sweden, they will tell you that there's no bad weather. What exists is what we have is bad dressing. So for every climatic condition, there are ways that man can adapt to it. So what the extension agents will assist us to, assist in doing is to provide this adaptation skills for us to be able to adapt to these changing situations. So, and for those involved in the supply chain, we can provide this kind of trainings for them. Then we also interface with them and the researchers to look at some of the problems that they are facing. That our research institutes can be able to provide solutions to. We do this interface. We go in between the two of them. These are a few of what we do as extension agents.
Exactly, interesting. Prof, I really want to appreciate you for coming on the show, even though we have not really deep down into this topic, because recently we heard Minister of Agriculture is talking about a roadmap for food supply chain in Nigeria. And I know people like you will need to be contacted so that some of these views that you have raised here can also be part of the document that will make up that roadmap of food supply chain in Nigeria. Well, I appreciate you for coming on the show today, Professor Idris Badiru. Thank you so much, Prof.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
And I want to assure you, the moment the document is out, we will interrogate it together.
No problem, no problem. I'm always available for you.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, and have a great day in Ibadan.